So this show, I mean, it is fucking, the way they set it up and take care of the comics, I mean, it was just great, and they got a whole back room. We walk up, I bring Sagalo. Sagalo's not on the show, but he's just coming to hang. We walk up into, like, I'm meeting the booker and also, like, the comics, the other producers for the first time and stuff, and we walk up, and there's, like, beer out and water, and I go, like, right up to the producer and booker. He's like, oh, how are you? I'm Mike. Like, thank you so much for having me. And I turn and I go, and this is Brendan, and as I pointing to him, he's, like, grabbing water out of for the performer bucket, and this is the first thing he says. He goes, hey, what's up? He goes, you mind if I take a water? Already did. Jesus Christ, I brought you. And then on his fucking podcast, I'm sure he'll retell it and be like, that's not how I said it. I said it more jovial and fun, but it comes out like a fucking maniac. So
of course.
They go, your friend Andrew just go right down the street. There's going to be a little ramp that goes to the beach, and you're good. So we go, great. So we are like having so much fun. We're laughing at each other. We're
also
like,
high.
Yeah, we're
I mean, there's not
we
really
smoked
a minute.
A blunt. We smoked a blunt
really
right
a minute
before
that goes by. That we're not. So just assume
just
if we
assume.
haven't said that.
Yeah. So we are fucking. We start motoring down the street, and all of a sudden we see like the ramp, and I'm like, oh, that's the ramp to get to the beach. And I was like, and then Brendan said that he goes, guys, I don't think that's, but we were already like, woo, like doing a wheelie through an intersection. So we go down this thing. It is not the bike or pedestrian walkway to get there. It is the entrance ramp to the highway, to the Pacific Coast Highway. And there is no shoulder. It is a one-lane thing. So we are just motoring down this ramp.
People are beeping. Some lady yelled.
Someone put down her window and was like, this isn't a lane! And it's like, she's screaming at us.
Fuck you, you old bitch, we're on a bird! I had done the weed news, as some of you may know, which still lives on YouTube if you want to check it out. But it was like this,
We saw the numbers. They don't.
They don't. It was like a year-long show where I have 50 episodes talking about the week in legislation for weed or whatever, but in an aggressive, typical weed way. So I, all the time throughout that show, people were like, getting Doug with high. I was like, I've never met him. I have no idea who he is, or I know who he is. I just don't have any access to him. And so we finally did radio together. We, hooked up on Twitter, and then I got to do this show, which was so cool. But I go there and I'm like, I buy a bottle of wine. I'm like, I'm going to be different.
Which I thought for sure was going to be for all of us. And
no.
You drank that entire bottle of wine.
Every single drop.
In 1 hour.
45 minutes. It's a 45-minute show.
In 45 minutes, on top of smoking.
You looked like a leaned-out junkie. You were literally just zero life, zero tension in your body, just slumped
that was
over everything. I know, and your left arm dangled at some point.
Yeah.
Brendan was like... in the back, having a tough time breathing as he does while he's doing anything.
Forgot his CPAP mask.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how he could be exerting zero energy while also having difficulty breathing.
Yeah, so he's struggling to breathe, and then I don't know what happened, but I woke up at some point. I look over at you because you were sitting one row up and across the aisle, so you're right on the corner there. I look over, and you're drinking, and there's multiple empty bottles.
There are 4.
You're watching The Lion King, and I turned and I pointed at you, and you turned around with tears, in your eyes, and it wasn't even like the beginning scene. It was when they were singing Hakuna Matata.
It just made me so happy.
And Brendan, by the way, at this point, he is not the gregarious, lovable Brendan. He is what we called Grumpers Branders because he was so grumpy and so mad and not having a good time. And we started calling him Branders, which he hated. And then he was Grumpers Branders. And every time we would say Grumpers Branders, he would go, all right, what's up?
It's the first time he spoke his mind in his life.
Yeah. We're like, Grumpers Branders. It was the fucking best.
That's when you want to make your Irish goodbye.